Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to the CWDW Near and Far podcast. Today we are going to talk about Tiana's Bayou adventure. John, you recently had a chance to ride this thing, the new replacement for Splash Mountain, and it was the cast members preview, right? You got invited along with a cast member, correct?
Yep. And actually, it was the day before. I saw him post somewhere that he's gonna ride it tomorrow, and I thought to myself, I wonder if he can take anybody else with him. And it was just a shot in the dark. I said, you have any other openings in the group? And he said, I sure do. And again, he could have took two people. He was taking nobody at this point, so he let me tag along with him. And I've ridden other rides with him like this too, so it worked out well. And it was actually June 6th is when I rode it, so it was a long time ago. Almost not quite a month, but I rode it pretty early. But from what I hear, the experiences are still pretty similar to what they were. Meaning, I think our time frame was between 11 and 12, and we got there, around 11, and it turns out the whole ride was closed, which I hear that still is happening as recently as yesterday, which was its second day of operation. So it wasn't until maybe after 1 o'clock that they got it running. And so we went over to get in line. And, the line starts somewhere over in Frontierland. It's one of those big zigzag taped out lines. It's a cast member preview, so everybody understood how it works. So it easily was done. But my issue with it is, though, and again, this is cast member preview, so it's not a normal thing. But we were told when we went to get in the line that it is a 3-hour wait from there.
Oh my
And
goodness.
this is out in the open sun with no shade at all for a long time, and we're told 3 hours. I basically took off of work for it, and I'm like, I don't care what they say, I'm gonna get in line, so I can ride it. So I did, and I have to say, I'll go back to the other stuff, but it took 47 minutes and 52 seconds to get on the ride from there. And the sad part is, there were people behind us in the group that once they were told 3 hours, they said, I literally can't do it. I'm going to miss my shift at work or whatever. Like, it's too much. And they ended up leaving. And it was completely wrong. And I'm like, wow, you're even telling cast members completely out in left field numbers, So again, it wasn't a guest, but I thought that was a little odd. We can see here, this is one of my pictures from the line.
So I saw this picture previously that you had posted. I really dig that they kind of made it swampy looking. That actually looks like a
Yeah,
bayou, right?
I think that's a nice looking picture. The only thing that bothered a lot of people is they said, why is that water so brown? And again, I don't care if the water's brown, but the splash was kind of big and it went in my mouth, my eyes, all over. And I'm like, why is it so brown? It's like, should I be concerned about this?
Yeah, is it like that actually on the flume itself? Is it brown like that?
Well, on the day I was there, you could see
Oh yeah,
it was
and
clear.
that was really common during the cast preview, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they weren't running that. I don't think they really ran it consistently until just towards the opening, the grand opening, right? So
Yeah, and so yeah, we ended up getting in line, And this guy was actually hilarious. We saw him outside in a real nice cast member talking to everybody. And then I saw him again inside later at the tunnel, and somebody said, "Didn't I just see you?" And he goes, "Oh no, that was my brother." Disney comedy there. Like, I love that. I'm like, that's exactly the kind of thing I remember from when I took my daughter when she was little.
Yeah.
Cast
They
member.
need to hire more guys
And
like that.
it's like, that's exactly the kind of comedy that I like. He's like, "Oh no, that was my brother. We sure do look alike." It was like, it was just hilarious. But
That's great. They need to hire more people like that, honestly.
yeah, they really do. One thing that I can say too, here's the part that used to be the statue of Brer Bear, Brer Fox, and Brer Rabbit on his shoulder where they're looking for him.
Yeah.
And this is what it's replaced with. Again, it's Frontierland Bayou. And I have to say, one thing that I'm not impressed with, and this is only in comparison to Splash Mountain, the signs are just very like, printed up on a print shop, where Splash Mountains were like sculptures of, just
they're pretty
very
underwhelming, right?
detailed.
I mean, outside, I mean, regardless of anything else, I'm really surprised at like as much as they hyped this up at the lack of size. I mean, they got the mural, and they put a lot of work into that, but
Well, there's a good example. The other one, and I don't have it pulled up for comparison, but it had a drawing of the Brers going down the hill built right into the sign. Like, there was so much more art.
You may get wet, it said.
This just looks like they bought it from standardsigns.com. It's like,
yeah.
All right, that's a little bit like, again, maybe that's just the way things are going to be going forward, because Splash Mountain was made a lot of years ago, but it just didn't have that hand done feel. And another thing that I noticed too was, this is supposed to be a car from like the whenever Tiana was, and I don't think I got a close up of it, but this is just like a decal, and I'm like, back when this is supposed to be, there was no decals.
Yeah, they would have painted
your
that.
cars too, and I really thought Disney would have done that. Meaning, the old school of Imagineers would have said, "What would it look like from that date?" And again, it doesn't have to be realistic, because they didn't have talking animals either back then, so it's fine. But again, a mixture of hand painted realness, old cars for the air, and then put the stickers on it. It's like,
boy, I mean, that's a shame. Like, that would be really cool if it was hand painted, and even you could even have got the artist that did the mural to do it.
Yeah, for Disney, I think they could easily, like, again, I think they're just trying to save money, because it isn't like they couldn't do that. Here's a little sign in the queue, celebrate Mardi Gras season.
So that
everybody's
sign,
welcome, in case you were wondering.
Yeah,
everybody. They're not excluding people, so that's great. Thank goodness for that key. Because if that wasn't there, I would assume there's only certain people allowed.
Yeah, right. I will say too that the poster, having a poster there, to me, kind of makes sense, because they are doing a Mardi Gras party. So a poster of that nature makes sense in that particular location. But again, the other stuff, I totally like. I don't get that. Like, that mural's beautiful.
Yeah, you can see they got the mural here, and this is the part where Brer Rabbit was above the entry, looking out the windows before. He was sitting there looking out the windows, and again, they just painted it, added a couple of murals, standard signage. Like, this was a sculpture of Brer Rabbit. Now it's a white sign that says main entrance. And here's the 50-foot drops, where before there were actual artwork built into them. There's the good old Tiana Foods, which I know we talked about it before, but I'm not artistic and I could come up with a better name and logo for Tiana Foods, but it's not that important, I guess. Um, so let's say, yeah, here you can say the the good old. This is the Tiana Foods logo. I'm saying that I could use Microsoft Paint from a 1980s computer and make that in 3 minutes. So you could literally tell AI, make me a Tiana's
Yeah.
Foods logo, but don't make it say Tiana's Foods. That's too easy. It's like they'd be like, here's 100 different logos. Pick one. It's like,
Yeah.
but again, I don't know why that bothers me. The simplicity of it. Like maybe I'll learn to like it. I don't know, but I doubt it. But so anyway, you go through the queue. And this is, like I said, I queued up in Frontierland first and then went in front of where you can see the splash. They had turnstiles of tape. And you know what does bother me, though? They're still doing that. So you have a virtual queue. They bring people in and make them line up and stand out in the sun. And I'm like, no offense to him, but paging Mr. Mara didn't have to do that. They let him right in, gave him a party, free beignets, special thing, watch it during the fireworks. And then he showed everyone how nice it is.
Yeah.
They make their cast members and guests stand out in the sun and just sit there going, oh my goodness, this sun is too much. It's like,
I'm not even watching that stuff from these content creators anymore because it's such an inauthentic experience nowadays that they're getting, and I just don't have time for it anymore.
They really are. And again, I like some of them, and the one guy that I follow,
like them.
The one guy that I follow, Shay Spence, he's mainly like a.
Yep, I know Shay Spence.
I always liked him because he does food stuff, but he also does Disney. He showed what they let him have. They gave him free rooms, free passes. He got to ride it once, and then they took him backstage to a big party and free extravagant things and live music, and then they took him back on again for a ride at night. And it's like, and that's probably the one paging Mr. Mara was on too. You really think he's going to be like, I don't love it. But you know what's funny? I think Shay Spence really did like Splash Mountain, and he never really said much about the ride. He talked about the food and the whole experience. He kind of skimmed over and he thought about the ride, which I thought was funny. In my mind, I was like, I think he's kind of telling you under the table, like, it's all right. But again, that's a lot of free stuff, like extravagant free stuff. So
not only that,
agree.
John, not only that, they took a lot of these content creators, including Nate, and I think even Shay Spence, they took them to New Orleans when this thing was halfway done, just to try and
free trip.
To give them a free trip to show them how they're influenced, because they were trying to tell the story of creating this thing to gain a positive outlook on the attraction itself. So I think, again, they're creating an inauthentic representation with these content creators of what is actually going on and what really counts, right? What does the experience of a normal person, what is that? And I'm not saying that negatively. Like, I'm just saying I wish they would just invite them over and give them the authentic experience and let us see it, right?
Imagine that they said, oh, look, we showed up and the ride's down for hours. Now they're telling me to stand in the sun for 3 hours to ride it. And I don't think that would go well, like people would be like, I'm not going there. It's like, but again, it wasn't 3 hours. They told me that, but it was hours of broken down before I could ride it. And as a side note too, I had a pass holder preview a couple weeks ago, and I did plan on going, but I have a full-time job. My wife recently opened her own business. We only have certain days off, so I picked the day we both have off, and I took like half a day because my work schedule was very busy, and it was noon, and it still did not open on that day. And I gave up at that point. I'm sure I could have ridden it eventually, but I saw all the horror stories of broken evacuations, not opening, just extremely long lines when it does open. And I'm just like, I really, we had other stuff we had to do. So just, and that again is saying in contrast to what these people show you.
Yeah.
They show you it's an extravagant New Orleans party. We're all having fun. Or you're standing outside sweating or can't get on at all, or you're evacuated off or whatever. But anyway, I
Yeah.
just
I
wanted to
mean,
mention that
it's
as
just
a
marketing,
side note.
and that's it. It's marketing, and that's what they're doing. But unfortunately, when you do marketing and you have experiences like that and it doesn't turn out to be that, sometimes your customers aren't going to be happy with you.
But this is what I don't get though too. Like they're showing stuff, and again, technically this part of the queue here is when you go up the stairs. They
Yeah.
actually put it up there for Splash Mountain. Nothing was really there, so
Yeah.
anything is an improvement because there's something now. But they make it so realistic, New Orleans, and that's what always gets me. Is this a cartoon, a fantasy? Talking frogs? It's realistic. Realistic. It's like, they're putting real stuff in there, and that's why too when people say, oh, there's no mountains in Louisiana, it's like, yeah, but there's no talking frogs either. But again, I feel like they're trying to do both. I'm like, it's realistic, it's based on New Orleans, but it's not. It's all fantasy, but it's
What are
basically
they
don't worry about it, whatever you want. It's like,
what are they doing with that though? Like what are they trying to do? Like what is the story they're trying to tell here?
well, honestly, I had no idea after I wrote it. Like, people said, "Oh, did you like it?" I said, "I don't know what was going on. I don't know why anything happened, and I don't not like it, but it's not compared to Splash Mountain. I don't like it that much. But in Splash Mountain, I knew exactly what's going on. Brer Rabbit, Brer Fox, and Brer Bear trying to get Brer Rabbit because he left home and thought he was going to go out on his own. Turns out people are out to get him, and that's the ride. Real simple. But now that I have seen other people explain it, again, I didn't get this from the ride. There's a big party going on tonight
Uh-huh.
for Mardi Gras, I guess, and they need to find a band.
Okay.
So we're out looking to find a band in a mountain inside Tiana's salt mine or something.
Okay.
So I still don't understand it completely. I don't know why she's in a salt mine, and I don't know why you just sail around on a boat in a salt mine to find a band. But again, that's what I think the gist of it is. But
I'll be
again,
honest with you, like young kids aren't going to care about story, right? I mean, they're
yeah,
just there to
right.
ride, to be honest with you. But I think it's pretty like I'm looking at this detail and it's way more than what like I haven't been completely in depth on everything. I've tried to stay free until we did this episode, but um I'm actually kind of impressed by the level of things that they did there in that part of the queue. There's that guy.
Yeah, there's that guy.
There's the
That's his
brother.
brother.
There's the brother.
Yeah, look, that guy was outside, and look,
That
isn't
was
that the
his twin
same guy?
brother out there. I mean,
Oh, I love that. He was the highlight. Just hearing that one thing, and you can't hear the sound on this video because of the way StreamYard's set up.
yeah, you
But
can actually, if you want to turn that up, you can, and if he says anything, I
oh,
think
he
you can
does.
hear it. Yeah.
Can you hear it?
No, I didn't. One of the videos earlier, I was able to hear. I just couldn't hear it on
Well,
that
I
one.
was going to say that's because I put that video in under sharing a video. So
Okay.
when we get to the ride, you can hear it if you want
Okay.
to.
Okay.
But this part, I'm sharing a screen, so that
I
doesn't
gotcha. All
transfer
right.
over.
That makes sense.
But anyway, this part kind of made me sad though, because I go through all this stuff I never saw. Then I'm like, wait a minute, Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
There's the Splash Mountain cube.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like that is the Splash Mountain
And you
cube.
had the shadows right down there, right? You had the
Yeah, well,
shadows that they
yeah,
did, and
they got rid of Brer Fog telling stories. Now it's just TNT storage. I don't know. What do they use TNT in salt mines? I don't know.
I don't know.
I always heard from like old movies and stuff that salt mines are where you sent the like in Spartacus. That's
The
where they sent the
undesirables, the
slaves that
slaves. Yeah.
didn't listen. You go to the salt mines. It's like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I've never been to one, but just weird salt mine stuff too. And here's another one. Last chance to exit. The Splash one had Brer Fox on it. Like
Yeah.
it was a 3-dimensional sculpture slash artwork slash whatever. I don't know what's going on here. They're lowering stuff in. I guess this is like a port of some kind.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's where they're putting the boat. I mean, if you
But
think
I
of
don't
New
know why
Orleans
we're
and the
riding on a
Bayou,
port looking for a band. Like, I'm not sure. Again, I'm sure there's a story, but I haven't been able to quite get it as much as I would like to, I guess. And I was going to go with the full screen for the ride part,
yeah.
but that's on a GoPro. So this one actually looks a little bit brighter, like the iPhone version.
And the water is brown there. Look at it. It
Yeah.
is murky. Was it like that with Splash? I don't remember.
No, I don't. It wasn't brown. Like this looks like Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory
Yeah,
tour or
yeah,
something,
you're right.
where they would dye the water brown. But I don't know if it was on purpose or what, but I heard that it's not that brown anymore. So,
Oh,
but again, I got it right in my mouth. So,
what's that? Living
hopefully
with the
it's not.
land, or was
No,
that living with the land back there?
yeah, it is, but with the alligator guy looking for stuff in there. And there's the
I
same tree too, which is kind of
yeah,
sad. That
yeah,
that's where the little teeny Brer characters were singing in their little voices.
yeah,
And
yeah. Are
Splash,
they playing music back there?
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and here's Slip and Falls, where they got rid of the bridge, they got rid of Brer's house. Now you can see through it for some reason. But I did want to show you too. This is all the way at the beginning now. One of the things that I didn't like, they have people at the beginning now. I don't know why. Maybe to tell you not to jump out. Brett, look to the left there where Brer Frog was.
Yeah. There's no frog there anymore, huh?
And you know what's scary though? Obviously, there's no frog, but there's cables popping out of there that are painted tan to match the dirt. And I remember thinking, that is sad. Like, man, maybe I didn't record it on there. But I remember thinking, man, the cables were just sticking out and spray painted tan to be done. I'm like, made me think they really did do this thing in a hurry. I mean, I heard that, but it does seem like they were in a hurry to do it.
There's the animatronic that a lot of people, right off the bat, that's the one that people really talk about.
I was gonna say she did with that one too. She did stand there still waiting until a sensor until you got closer.
Okay.
Like, you see how she just standing there?
Yeah.
Like, watch, she's talking to them. And I think this is part of what they're having trouble with the new one. See, now she's done. She just stands there going, all right, waiting for the next one. There she goes.
Okay.
So they do pause in between, like they do it by the boat instead of a constant thing. They wait for you.
So while that might not be practical as far as like keeping the ride opening or operating, I think it's a neat concept anyhow. I mean, at least everyone's going to get a authentic experience. I don't know how long they're going to be able to pull that off if it keeps breaking because of that kind of thing, but that's kind of neat, I think.
And here's, I didn't get a clear picture, but
Yeah, what's the story with this armadillo? I keep seeing pictures of this thing.
I don't know. I think they just had to pick something to concentrate on. They're hoping to get something to catch on that everybody likes or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah,
More marketing.
Yeah, and here's some of the other. I guess this is the band that they found, the
I see.
Bayou Community Band.
I do
Why does
like
all
that
this
poster
stuff-
though.
But why does everything sound like communist or something? The community band. It's like everything's got to be like a weird co-op, employee-owned community thing of. I don't know. It just seems odd. Who the heck calls a band the community band? But I don't know. I guess I'm old. It doesn't seem like a band name. Here's Tiana's Bayou General. It was closed, and hot sauces.
I guess they do have those hot sauces though in one of the stores there, because I saw it on a video someone posted. Actually, Adam Lewu's video, he went into one of the stores when the regular grand opening of the ride was the other day, and they did have like a lot of that stuff in that store, you know.
Well, let's go to the
other. You go to the video. Okay, yeah. All right. Here's the on ride.
Now you can hear that, right?
Yeah. I like the music.
Yeah, I like a lot of the music too. Weird that I literally have that thing control over this video. Now that it's there, I turned it down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like the video is not on my screen anymore. It's going right into there, which is fine. But yeah, it looks like I can turn it down there. But yeah, the music isn't bad, honestly. Although I loved Splash Mountain's music, and I still like it better. But I have to say, when I left this ride, a lot of the music was stuck in my head, and like this is a song from the Tiana movie.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Again, they did use some. I think at first they weren't going to use any because that's what I heard, but they did end up putting some in. And this particular video is on a GoPro recording. Okay. There you can see how she just stopped. She says, "Look out, Bayou, here we come."
She is moving a little bit though.
Yep, and then
she said something different though than she did the last boat.
Did she?
Yeah, because she said at the end to them, "Here they come," and now she said, "Lewis, get ready." So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, multiple things, and that's Lewis in there digging around in the garden. And honestly, I haven't seen this movie since it came out, so I don't remember Lewis the alligator, honestly. But
I do. Yeah.
And I don't want to get dinged on YouTube, so
yeah, turn it down
a little bit. But they actually played almost there at this part, which is smart too, because I thought they weren't going to play that stuff at all. And as much as I prefer Splash Mountain, I can't deny that is a very good song, you know.
It is a good song, yeah.
So very good. And again, it sticks in your head, and I actually like what the song is about too, you know, working hard. Yeah. So I like that.
That's why I like that movie actually, because it's very centered on that, you know, or that concept of, you know, not giving up, continue, you know, work, just keep working, you know. I really love the concept of that movie for that reason.
As you can see, a lot of this though, like you can see Splash Mountain so much here,
Oh
which
yeah, for sure.
again for me kind of is a little bit like sad. It's like I'm riding
Yeah.
Splash Mountain, but they put these little flowers around it, and that's where the bees were. This is
Hmm.
where the singing frogs and the birds were saying, "How do you do?"
Yeah.
And in this part, there's nothing there, but again, there's other animatronics in there. But this was the part where when you went in, they were all singing,
Yeah.
and then they have Lewis around the corner.
Man, that looks great though. That animatronic, I mean.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then here's some of their newer stuff. I
Yeah, I
guess
love the Zydeco sound.
I guess that's the band that they like. They found him in the woods.
Okay.
And then here's some more darkness. And then we're going to have some darkness and some screen, I think. Yeah, that's screen back there.
Okay.
Fireflies. And honestly, that looks better in real life. Like, it doesn't look that bad. So,
Okay.
and here's some more animatronics with and I guess that's a newer song. Like I don't think that's an original song, I think. But again, it's pretty catchy.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's not an original song. I feel like Going Down to the Bayou, I feel like I've heard that before.
No, that's a new song. That's the one they released though for people to listen to before the ride opened.
And there's
So
this
now
is
you're
heading
going down the
toward,
bayou.
yeah, well, I think this is heading towards what was the laughing place part.
Yeah.
Yeah, and instead of Bear with his head down over here, the other guy's got his head down over there, and there's that lady. I don't know who that is.
Mama Odie.
Yeah, here, and I don't think anyone ever explained. We just got shrunk, I think,
Okay.
for some reason. But again,
Why?
they don't really get clear. I don't know. She just does it. She's like a crazy old lady. But now, frogs are as big as you are. And I guess this is where the laughing place was. Yeah, see, now it's going down to the next level where this is the laughing place here, where it splashes when you get down. And honestly, I posted this. It was one of the first things I posted. And man, did it get a lot of hate. But I think it looks pretty good, though. I like the lighting. I like the colors.
Yeah.
I don't like that. See how they have a big screen, and I guess Tiana being big, and then looking at you being small.
It's hard because it goes from animatronics to the cartoon and the screen as a character. I don't really dig that too much.
And honestly, the animatronics too, like the Tiana ones, they look good, but
Yeah.
they don't look like the movie. They look like Dora the Explorer turned into Tiana, turned into an animatronic. For me, at least, I'm limited to what I can reference. And there's a screen of that lady again.
Yeah, Mama Odie. This effect right here with the steam, the mist, and the colors, this was something that they really pushed on their D23, the Imagineer that did this and did the Mickey's the Mickey ride over at Hollywood Studios. She was really like pushing this up and saying how groundbreaking it was. I don't
think
know. Yeah, I do like the Mama Odie animatronic there. Then,
well, but and basically she says you'll make a bigger splash if I turn you big again, so you're big now. I don't know why you were small or why she turned you big and small. Oh, and she doesn't do voodoo anymore. She's a fairy godmother of some kind.
Oh, okay.
Because voodoo is bad, so she could never do that.
That's where Prince Charming Dev said we got to stop worrying about offending people because of, I think that they are just
Yeah.
getting overboard there. They should
I
just left the voodoo.
I think a good example of that is there was a character on Doctor Who that was always in a wheelchair, and
Mhm.
it was from the old episodes,
Yeah.
and he was a bad guy.
Yep.
And now they
The
said
master.
they would not feel comfortable making a handicapped person be the bad because it's being mean to handicap. And I'm like, that is so ridiculous. If you're handicapped, you probably like that they have real character. And they just made the guy be able to walk instead. It's like, what the actual? But I feel like this is the same. They're like, well, voodoo is bad, so we can't make these characters have anything to do with it because they're pure good. And it's like, all right, guys, everybody's good, everybody's
I
bad. You don't,
mean,
you can't pick things and go
did they
because
ever explore Stephen Hawking's life? We make a hero out of Stephen Hawking's, but the guy was um like if you look at his later life after he divorced his wife,
oh, yeah.
his life was a mess. I mean, he was a bad guy. He really was.
Well, but I suppose in their fantasy ideal world they try to make everything in, they don't have anybody left to be the bad guy unless you're not in any other group, which means I'm the bad guy mostly. It's like, and again, I like being the bad guy, but you can't do it every time. It's like it just gets to be done. So again,
Is
voodoo
there
exists, and it is a negative thing. But who on earth would say, well, that means anything against anybody? It's like voodoo was done, I think, in Haiti, in this teeny little island country. It doesn't
yeah.
mean anything anywhere else. But
New
again,
Orleans, I mean, there's a lot of voodoo stuff in New
yeah,
Orleans and
there
it's
is.
in their culture and in their Mardi Gras culture and stuff. So
But it's negative, so we're going to pretend it doesn't exist and get rid of
uh,
it. But people liked it though. Like that's the biggest complaint. Dr. Facilier doing voodoo stuff. It's like that could have changed my mind into liking this.
yeah, and Mama Odie was doing the good kind of voodoo, you know what I mean? So
And this, she's not doesn't do any anymore because voodoo is bad. It can't be
so
bad.
the splash, was it any different? Was the drop any, did you notice anything different?
Well, some people said that steam there wasn't there before, and I don't remember. There were so many things
Nah,
not working that I can't remember if it really was there or not there. But
I don't
take a
think
look
it
when you're
was.
going down. Well, then they added a mist effect towards the bottom. Like,
Oh
see it
no,
there?
okay. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a mist.
I
And they
don't
make
remember
it,
if it was there or not, to tell you the truth,
well,
John.
honestly, you know what I think? This is a lot more opened up now. So before you couldn't see so far down, you could just see going into the briar patch with the big thorns and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I think because you can see it now, if you could see that, you can see it's just a thing going down. So they needed to block the view, is my guess. But
Okay.
you can see there the steam, and I don't. It's hard to tell. The splash did seem bigger to me, but again, it was me and the guy I went with, so two grown men sitting in the front seat. Sometimes that can make a splash a little bigger,
Yeah.
Let's see.
I actually like that mist though, like obscuring where you're going. I think that's a great effect. Whether it's old or new, I don't remember it on the old Splash Mountain. It's not to say that it wasn't there,
But they
but
stopped
I like that part
fixing
of it.
stuff years ago, so if it was, they just would have left it off.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Here's where I always get wet. Always.
Well, it's funny. They changed that where it's not as trippy. They actually took the time to change that. Like it's not as bad as it was. But all right, and here's some white flowers. It's actually pretty. The white flowers overhead. And this isn't bad, but this song I don't really think is that catchy, honestly.
Yeah, I've heard this song.
And then, again, look at all the screens.
I don't like the screens mixed with the animatronics. I mean, the screens are fine by themselves, but I don't like the mix.
Yeah, and the song does not stick in my head at all. Like it sounds. It's not the kind of song that I'm gonna walk away singing. Like there are a lot of other songs in the ride that will stick in your head, but not really that one. At least not for me. And here's another Mama Odie one.
And she's an animatronic here too again, right?
Yep. You don't really get to see her very much. And honestly, a lot of times I don't know what she's playing.
You will, like, as the ride gets through its regular cycle, I guarantee you're going to be stuck there a number of times.
Yeah, that would help to be able to hear it.
Just the natural loading and unloading of the ride is going to put you stuck.
But yeah, that is about it then. And again, my thoughts on it are, it's not a terrible ride, but to take Splash Mountain away for it, which in my eyes was a classic ride and right up there with Haunted Mansion, Pirates. In my mind, Splash Mountain, Haunted Mansion, Pirates, that's like there's 3 rides that are just top of the line classic rides that would never be touched. And so it would be like, imagine if they took the Haunted Mansion and put Tiana in it. It still might have some good stuff, but you're going to be like, oh, this was perfection. And now it's good. It's rideable. But that's my thoughts on it. And again, this is also the kind of ride that I am not a princess fan, so it's not like, oh, I can't wait to get back to Tiana. She's my favorite princess. You know who my favorite princess is? I don't have one. I'm a 50-year-old man. What the heck would I have a favorite princess for? I don't. And again, I'm not going to be in a hurry. I could have ridden it several times since. I honestly don't have any type of urge to stand out in the sun for at least an hour to ride it yet, I will ride it again, but I'm just not in that big of a hurry. And again, Splash Mountain, no matter how many times I rode it, it was a weird, surreal, dreamlike ride of just weird, and I've never seen the movie it's based on. So for me, it was an original ride of weirdness. The little rabbits, Prayer Frog telling stories and the catchy songs and just weird and good. And I loved it. So again, I'm biased. But again, I would give this ride probably like a 5 out of 10. And I would give Splash like a 10 out of 10, which I always said Splash Mountain is the perfect ride. It's got catchy music. It's long. It's a water ride. It's a roller coaster. It's a dark ride. It's everything. If you want one ride to say, what is a good ride to represent Disney theme parks? Here's a perfect one. And it has that weird oldness to it where, again, if you're 5 years old and you love princesses, this might be even better. But you might not be able to ride it too. You got to be 40 inches. So I don't know.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, John, with the ride is that Splash Mountain did a really good job on setting you up for those false drops. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, those false drops were a thing. They kind of lured you in with the animatronics and the music and things.
And I can tell you that it worked because I didn't ride that ride until I was in my 20s. I never
Hmm.
saw it, didn't know what it was. I avoided it. Our first vacation, I'm like, oh, I don't want to get all wet. I
Hmm.
don't want to get all wet. Finally, I went on it. And in those false drops, I was like ready for the big
Yeah,
drop. And it
me
didn't
too.
happen. And then again, I'm like, what just happened? I was out of the water. I was like, wow,
Hmm.
like they really made me think because every flume ride I've ever been on, you go up, you roll, and you go down. That's it. And all of a sudden, I was like, we're just not going down. I don't know what's going on, you know.
You and I had the same experience, John, because I never rode. Keep in mind, this ride wasn't there in the '80s when I went there as a kid.
Yeah,
So when it opened up, and I had heard that it opened up through like not obviously we didn't have the internet as readily available back then, and definitely didn't have content creation creators. But back in the '90s when I was in my 20s, that's when I first rode this thing, same thing. And I got off of that thing and that's exactly what I thought, exactly what I was like expecting. Okay, here's the drop already. But no, this thing seemingly went on for 15 to 20 minutes of
yeah,
like
it
three
felt like
false drops
forever because
and
I was waiting to drop and it didn't. And then what? Once it dropped, I thought too, it's just
yeah.
going to be over. And then it's like, nope. Here's a whole not another little drop and another
Yeah.
scene of the big finale scene. I was like, wow,
And they set you up for them,
crazy.
right? They did that. On this attraction, I've noticed that as far as I could tell, it didn't really set you up like the old Splash Mountain did for those attractions. And to me, that's just that's a minor gripe, I guess. The This attraction is definitely made for a different crowd than people,
Well,
in their 20s,
I
so
know, I know, Disney won't listen, but those people are broke and their credit cards are almost maxed out. So I kind of
that's
think
true.
you should have said, we better keep something for the old guys in here because they still have a little bit of money left. We already took all the money from the 20-year-olds we can, and they're maxed out. And I'm not even joking. I really think if
Yeah.
you see a drop in attendance at Disney, it's not necessarily going to be, oh look, everybody hates Tiana, no one's got. It's like no,
No,
but but
yeah,
you need to appeal to people that have money, and again, 20-year-olds don't. And when my daughter was 5 and really liked princesses, my money was so much tighter at that point in my life. It's much
yeah.
harder. And again, keep raising the prices and stuff. If grandpa don't feel like going or says we can go somewhere else instead because I don't really care, I don't want to see any of this stuff, then it could
It'd
hurt
be
attendance a little
interesting
bit.
to really see over the next couple years here
Well,
what's going to happen. But
by the
I
time they
I
know for sure, it's too late anyway. But
I will say though, in watching your ride on your point of view here, there's some things that I'm really impressed with. I mean,
oh
I
yeah,
like the queue. I don't understand the story. I really don't. And I don't think any kid who is into princesses is going to understand that story at all. It's too complicated. But I sort of like the because if I can't understand what's going on with the story, completely, like just walking through the queue, they're
wow.
not going to understand it.
I would love if I ever talk to an Imagineer. I'm sure I won't be able to ask him this, but I'd like to say, what's the backstory be, that made Tiana want to make a giant tiara and put it on a water tower
Yeah,
on
that
her
doesn't
salt
seem
mine?
like
It's
her
like
character. That's
no,
not in her
it
character,
doesn't
right?
fit her, and it really doesn't fit anybody. Like who would do
Yeah.
that? Like
Is it
it's just
branding though? Like, is that part of the branding of her company? I
I
don't
don't think
know.
so. Your
I
company
don't.
branding is a generic Tiana Foods company
I mean, it would
logo,
make
but
sense if the tiara is part of it. I mean, she married Prince Naveem or Naveem, whatever that guy's name is. So in essence, she
but
becomes a princess.
But would
But
she really be like, look, everybody, I'm a princess. I'm
no,
going to
she
put a
wouldn't. That's not
giant
in her
thing out. I
character.
don't feel like she'd be like that at all. I feel like she'd be more the type to be like, doesn't matter what I
I
am.
mean,
We
that's
all,
that's basically
you know?
like you saw at the beginning of the ride. They had all everyone's welcome, right? And this is
Oh, yeah.
supposed to be an inclusivity ride, but by putting a tiara on top of a thing, you're basically saying, no, this is exclusive, or in a way, I mean, I'm royalty. I guess, but I mean, the other part of it is maybe if you are trying to emphasize the point that she is a princess, that might have something to do with it. I don't know. It would
I
be
just find it
interesting
odd.
to really find out what they were thinking there, though.
Yeah, I just find it odd. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't put a giant crown or Tiana on
No, I
anything.
don't like that.
I would find that obnoxious no matter who did it, you know.
For
And
somebody whose
again,
character is
hey,
built on humility, yeah.
you know who would do that? If Gaston ever became king,
Yeah.
he'd be like, "Look, I'm going to put a giant crown on there. Look at that. I'm awesome."
Yeah.
It's like that's who would do that, but Tiana,
Yeah.
there's
You're
got to be.
right.
I
You're
wonder
right.
what the thought process is. Maybe there is some kind of little story that they made up that makes it make sense.
It could be. I don't
I
know.
don't know. I'll probably never know because I don't look that close. But
Yeah. I usually do. Like I'm a sucker for those details, but I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. But
and
I there's things I did like I said, like looking at it, I was impressed by the fact that they have multiple lines for some of the animatronics,
well,
that, you know.
yeah, I was going to say the other problem is I they are having constant delays, breakdowns. I hear people where they're waiting like 5 minutes at a time. I'm hearing alarms, people evacuating. It didn't open till almost noon again yesterday, I think, on the second day of operation. And then I saw that some people were posting on Twitter saying that they worked on animatronics for many years and you can't have electromechanical animatronics on a water ride that's completely outdoors. It's not going to work. It's not going to
Mm.
last. There's going to be constant problems. You need the hydraulic based ones, which are much simpler. They might need maintenance a lot, but they can handle the wet. And again, I know sometimes Disney designs stuff in California with California mindsets of perfect weather and this and that. And again, they might have gotten thought they were thinking California, and then they were like, oh, and here's Florida. It's so humid and hot and wet that you can just feel it going right through the air at you. And again,
Well,
I'm no
yeah.
expert, but if that's true in any way, this
I
thing ain't going to get better.
I know a little bit about electronics. I'm in an electronic industry, and I can tell you that moving parts would be the issue. It wouldn't
But
be the circuit boards or anything like that because there's a process that basically moisture proofs them, which I've actually performed that process before and engineered that process. But I can tell you that the moving parts where the parts are coming together and making movement, that's very
well,
difficult.
that's the thing. Electromechanical requires
Yeah, you've got to have
small.
a circuit and a connection there in that point in time, right? And that movement is you can't have the moisture in there, right?
Well, and again, the guy who said that it isn't going to work said that he worked on the Kong animatronic, which is inside, and
Hmm.
he said that that thing will stop working with even a few degrees of difference in
Hmm.
temperature change because of condensation and the heat it makes, and the fact that it will not work. Like the temperature is very important to
Yeah,
keep that thing running properly.
I can see
and
that.
and again, I don't know anything, and I read and I see things positive and negative. um, and that my issue is the negative stuff like that seems to have a lot of references and specifics behind it, and the positives are like, well, those people are stupid, they just hate everybody. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I regardless, I it makes me think if the ride continues to break down all the time, I may have to start believing these people that say that they didn't do a good job in planning this out.
There's
And
clear No,
I
go ahead.
also heard too, and again, it may be true, it may not be true, that they used to have the sensors wired in here, all the
Mhm.
sensors that would trigger a stoppage. Now they decided to change them all to communicate over Wi-Fi in a cement building with sketchy Wi-Fi. I don't know if you've ever used the Disney Wi-Fi, but
Yes.
it doesn't work very well. It's not very well done. So, and again, I heard that secondhand, but from a real person, like from somebody who works there, told somebody that I know, and a lot of it has to do with I live around here and my wife has a business and she talks to a lot of people and a lot of people work for Disney in various capacities. And like like she knew about the fast pass thing before that ever happened too, because she cuts people's hair. But again, we don't tell anybody about it ahead of time. It's not, but
Right.
but there's a lot of things that and I guess somebody.
She's a former cast member
Oh,
too.
yeah.
That's the other part of it, right?
But somebody had mentioned that they went from wired to wireless, and now there's a lot of false triggers because they think they lose communication, and for safety, they got to be like, we assume there's a problem. Stop,
Yeah.
So, but anyway, again, I don't know that for sure. Because just like the old, remember back in the day, they'd be like the Disney bus drivers would be telling stories all over, and you
Yeah.
can only believe like one out of three. So again,
Yeah.
I always say I don't know anything except what people tell me. So people tell me it's fine. People tell me it's a problem. I read that it's fine. I read that it's going to be a problem. So far, it's been problematic, but we'll see.
Hopefully they get that sensor issue worked out because it does sound like it's an issue.
Yeah, I'm sure they could
Seems
figure it out one way or another. If not, they can call some of the old Imagineers back in
well,
who
that's what I was gonna
were
say.
able to make anything work, no matter
I was
how
gonna say
difficult. They'll figure out a way to make it work, and
they're
that's
gonna have
pretty
to rely on
what they did.
those old folks to
And they
come
didn't
in
learn that
and
in school. They learned it because the ride's going to open and make sure it works. Whatever you got to do. So,
I mean, I get the idea of preferring to use sensors and Wi-Fi and all that kind of
but yeah,
stuff. I mean, look, if you have to chase a cable down in a ceiling sometime or something in an industrial site, I have a buddy that does that like almost full time, and it's unbelievable. Lots of dust, lots of bugs, sometimes a rare or an occasional animal, and I mean, he's had to crawl around in many ceilings chasing down wires, and I'm sure that's what they had to do with some of these to fix things. So the Wi-Fi is probably the way to go for that reason. But if it doesn't work, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know either. But so anyway, the ride is good. My judgment is skewed because I really liked Splash Mountain. If you didn't care about Splash Mountain at all, I think you'll probably give it like a 7.
That's actually what Prince Charming Dev did. He gave it like in the 7 range. He loved Splash Mountain, and he's like you. He would give Splash Mountain a 10 out of 10. He was excited about Tiana getting her own ride, but he's kind of
Uh,
echoed some of the things that you've
I
said and
hear
other
that all the
people.
time, and people talk like it's an actual person. It's like it's a character.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, I
should
agree.
I be sad? Poor Brer Rabbit has nowhere to live. It's like he's a made up character. It doesn't matter. That's I'm so
I
sick of hearing that some character deserves a ride. It's like they don't necessarily deserve anything. None of them. It's a character that's not real in any way. If Tiana came to life and was standing there and asked us, "Why don't I have a ride?" I'd be like, "Oh, we better give her a ride." Poor Tiana. It's like she's not real. But anyway, that just drives me nuts about she deserves a ride. And are you saying then like Rapunzel doesn't deserve a ride? It's like I don't know. I think she deserves a ride too. That
well,
poor girl was kidnapped.
she got one
She was
over in Asia
kidnapped.
there somewhere.
Well, she deserves one in the United States. That poor girl was kidnapped and had a rough life. She
She has a
deserves it.
small tower over by the
Yeah, they
bathrooms.
give her a tower at the bathrooms. Does she deserve it? And honestly, no, she doesn't. It's a character. No character deserves a ride.
That'd
That's
be a
just so
really
weird.
cool drop ride, though, wouldn't it? I mean, if you think about it, a cool like because she's gonna climb down her hair.
Oh
That
yeah.
would be the makings of a really cool drop ride. Down that tower.
So yeah, that's my review. Tiana deserved a ride. I don't know if she got the one that she deserves, but she got a
Well,
ride.
there's some things I was impressed with, and some things I wasn't so impressed with. I haven't ridden it yet, so I will have some thoughts too. Eventually, I will be there. And too, John, I've heard on some videos and stuff, it's a different experience, much like Splash was at night. So
Mm,
be interesting to see what it was like at night. I am actually, if I get to ride it, I'm going to ride it at night probably because
well,
that's when I'll be over there. And that'll be in September. So hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully everything's up working and fine and good weather and all that stuff. So we'll see. But John, we haven't talked for a while about your social media. How has your social media been doing? I kind of, you probably don't have a lot of stuff ready to talk about it, but just in general, like how has it been performing? I was gonna say I can't hear you, John. You're muted. I still can't hear you. No way. It says I can't unmute you because your mic isn't connected. It said. There, I can hear you.
you can hear me?
Yeah,
Huh.
not sure what happened.
Yeah,
I was getting
it
ready to say let's just end it here, and then we'll figure out what's going on with your
weird.
technical
I
issues.
adjusted my screen and it said it lost contact with the entire browser. And I've
Yeah.
never seen that before. And it wouldn't let me connect through my speaker, through not even through the desktop, through nothing. No matter what I did, it was
Wow.
cut between. But
Strange. Strange. Anyways, let's go back to your social media. And do you have anything on social media? How it's been performing?
well, uh, it's hit and miss with social media. It has its ups, it has its downs. It's there are times where I post something on Instagram and it gets shown to like, I don't know, 2,000 people, 3,000. And that's with 160 to 170,000 followers. So it's uh it's not just me, but there's a lot of issues with meta stuff lately. And
Mhm.
honestly, YouTube is always garbage for me too. Like I could post anything. I think I posted the entire video for Tiana's ride, which people got a lot of views. I think they give me like 100 views and like 4 likes, and then it stops. And it's like, so I'm in a rut with that one too. But let's see, I'm up to 174,000 on my Facebook for Disney, so that's good. 166,000 for um, Instagram, and then I'm up to 46,000 for my Facebook for YouTube or for Universal, and 177 for Instagram. And here's an interesting one. For the first time ever, my TikTok stopped growing. My
Mm.
followers began to go down. My views got terrible, like multiple in a row where it would get like 2,000 views or whatever. And all I can say is it might be because I get 100 requests a day for their ridiculous uh, monetization things. They're like, get your share of $800. Just post a video and lip sync to this stupid song and this and that. And I'm like, I don't even look at them anymore. I get so many, and they're all just dumb. So and again, I got to the point where I was like, I don't even care. You want to unfollow, not show my video to anybody? We'll see if it comes around again. But they're just getting so dumb. Like all they
Yeah.
want is people to do dumb things. And again, when I'm told what to do, I have a tendency to be like,
Yeah.
I'm not interested. I don't dance. Get up and dance. I'll tell you to dance. It's like, no, I don't do that when I'm told. Just
And not only that,
not my
it's like
thing.
you're a when you create content, you are creating the content. That's what's driven their social media format for years, and what's brought them into popularity, by them telling you they're creating the content. So it's like, why would you want to be directed to create content when you've been your own boss all along? And same thing with all
Well,
these other creators.
they literally have, and again, it's not for me, but for a lot of people, they lead you into success, and then they change it, and then they want to control what you do and say. And again, not. I guess TikTok's just a little more open about it. And again, if you're not playing ball with them, you ever notice like TikTok has weird, they always all think the same things and act the
Yeah.
same way, and they get offended by the same crap. And I'm like, they are using that thing to manipulate dumb people. I'll say it. I don't really care.
Yeah.
That's literally what they're doing. And I guess I'm not quite dumb enough because I look at it and go, no, that's not.
Yeah.
I won't be. I won't be told what I'll do, and then you might give me a few dollars if I can do it or not. It's like, no, I don't really care that much. Then I that isn't what I do. I don't do acting for
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But again, um, I'm doing well on social media. I think overall, I have like almost 850,000 followers.
Hmm.
So it's a lot.
Yeah.
Although at some point it's going to start shrinking. But my biggest thing with social media is, and I tell this up to people all the time, I got a message from Meta the other day, and it was about my Universal account. It said, your reel got 3.2 million plays last week. make another one like it. And then I was like, wow, it did. I'm gonna look. I looked at my ads on Reels, which is the only way I would make money from it, where it was on YouTube, $13.89. And I thought to myself, I think I'm gonna get back to freaking work because if I'm making $13.89 on 3.2 million views, I better just concentrate on my day job because this thing is not going to pay me in any way. So
Yeah.
I thought that was a good, and let that be a lesson for everybody. I put that on Threads. They're stupid Threads, which is a terrible platform and ridiculous, but it's always popping up on Instagram, so I see it. And I literally typed that up just to let people know. I'd like to start letting people know a little bit of reality. You can get millions and millions of views, and you're going to get hundreds of dollars. That's what you're going to get for it. Millions. And you know how hard it is to get millions? Like I have, in the last bonus period, I had several that I've gotten into the millions reach, like many millions. It really money wise it means nothing. So
Yeah, unless you're
and
selling a product or unless
yeah,
you're fostering a sponsorship of some type
well the
where you're
same
making money on the side in some way, like
the,
paging Mr. Morrow with Roosevelt shirts or
yeah,
something, you
yeah,
know?
but just so you know too, like one out of a million is going to get that.
Yeah, you're
So
right. Yep.
again, Facebook and all these others are taking advantage of people that are hoping that if they can just get successful at this, they're going to make a living from it. And again, there's a handful of people that do, but for the most part, probably not. And they depend on, as you fail, like Meta will make $10 billion in profit. As you fail out, somebody younger is like, I think I can do it. And they have your replacement is always just under you going, I think I can do it. I'll do it for free. And it's like, again, I did it for free for years and I don't give a crap. I still would do it for free, but I won't do any more than that for free. I'm not going to, I do it because it's fun to a point, but I won't, again, I won't get orders from TikTok and people to tell me what I should and shouldn't do and say and where I need. It's like, nah, this is a
You could,
hobby.
if for that amount of money, you could deliver groceries for like in a, you know, in half an
You're
hour, make
correct.
more than that. I mean, God, trust me, I do it on the side sometimes, you know, to raise money for doing crazy stuff like going to Universal or Disney.
Yep.
That's what I do. That's how I do it so it doesn't impact my regular household budget, you know.
Well,
So
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
We need to do a show about that soon. Just the
yeah, we
realities
will.
of success on social media,
Yeah,
just to let people know. Uh, don't think that this is going to be your thing. And even on YouTube and stuff, all the famous people that are very successful, the first thing they tell people is have fun. Don't quit your day job.
yeah,
Don't quit it because your chances are not great.
yeah.
It's like, it's not great. So again, I am very successful. If I don't know what percentage, but I'm at the upper echelons of success. And I know I'm not, these millions of people, but 800 and some thousand is pretty darn much.
Yeah.
And I've made some significant money in the past year or so. Although it's cut at every corner, constantly cut and knocked back and cut.
Yeah.
So if I were depending on it, I'd be in big trouble. Meta would basically control my life, whatever they decide. That like I was almost at $1,000 for my Reels bonus, which it's always been around $200 or so. I
Mm.
actually had a good month, and I'm like, wow, I wonder how high this could go. Like I kept feeding it. I'm like, this is great. Their system decided that my content is unoriginal. And so
Mm.
they stopped the ads, cut off. I requested a review. I think this is like day 12. They're in no hurry. They don't care. It's like, so you think they care about their content creators? No matter how successful, I have over 500,000 on Meta stuff. Between the two accounts, they don't care about me one bit. They don't care how much money that I lose or could have had or lost. Or again, they stop it dead, and then they're like, we'll probably review it eventually, maybe someday if we want, but what are you going to do about it if we don't? It's like, that's what I want to depend on. It's like, that's exactly the kind of thing I see. And I'm like, yeah, it's all pointless in the end. The only person you can count on is yourself, and don't quit your day job, because I didn't, and I won't.
The theme, right?
I absolutely never will. I don't care.
Yeah.
Meta could give me $500,000 next year, and I'm going to say thanks.
You can't
I don't
rely on
trust
it.
you as far as I can throw you. I will
Yeah.
not rely on that for a nickel. So,
All right, John. Well, let's take them out of here. Where can they find you online?
you can find me at SeeWDW on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and YouTube, and SeeUO on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. And you can find me at the Giant Rat, TGE Giant Rat, on all the socials. And that should do it for this one. We will see you on the next one. I just saw your private